be the change you wanna see.
Seaside is a caring, connected, and expanding spiritual community, sharing practical tools for richer living.
Just your heart to show you how you can be the change if you wanna.
We join in partnership with God to influence our lives for good, whether for improved health, finances, relationships, or simple happiness and joy.
Plant a flower, watch it grow. You will reap what you sow. You gotta be the change. Your Seaside Band. Good morning, everybody. All right. It's so wonderful to be here with you all. This morning we have Trudy Steifke, and she is holding the light, holding the consciousness of this morning's message. And Trudy just recently retired as the core leader for Practitioners Core Council, and she is now developing her clientele as a spiritual mentor and marriage family therapist. So you'll notice that when she Hello. Hi, come on. So you'll notice that when she walks over to the Dolphin Legacy, there is a prayer request box there, and I encourage you all to put in your prayers. I know that I myself put in at least 3 or 4 at a time because it is so wonderful. It is so amazing to be held in the light and the love that I am, and you are at all times. So this is symbolic of lighting the light, which Trudy will hold for the rest of service. Thank you, Trudy. Give her a round of applause. She's just amazing. All right, so next, if you notice in your programs, you have this flyer. Go ahead and take them out and wave them in the air like you just don't care. Go ahead. So in this flyer, this is Living Room Conversations, and we have Dr. Kathy here who has been orchestrating this whole thing for us here at Seaside as a part of Boulder Together. And Living Room Conversations are a bridge across issues that divide and separate us. They use an easy structure for engaging in friendly yet meaningful conversations with those with whom we may not agree. These conversations increase understanding, reveal common groups, and often allow us to discuss possible solutions. In October and November, Seaside held 2 Living Room Conversations, and on the topics of ethnicity, race, and immigration. In collaboration with Boulder Together San Diego, we are planning our Living Room Conversations for 2019. So we want to continue doing these, and thus the reason why I had you shake your flyer so that we can fill them out, so that we can tell Dr. Kathy and Boulder Together what we want to talk about this year. So go ahead, fill that out. Circle the topics that you want to talk about, and then Dr. Kathy will be in the family room at a table. You just drop it in, and then we will use that to know what it is that as a community we want to talk about. You got it? Yeah. All right. So December 23rd, that is on next Sunday. Is that next Sunday? Yeah. So next Sunday, we have the candlelight service. Wow, that snuck up real quick. And it's such a great time to invite your friends, invite your neighbors, yes, hallelujah, to come and celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, the holidays. We have a menorah here that we will light, and this is such a great, wonderful time to come together as community and celebrate all the holidays that are happening in this season. We will find out who the partridge is this year. Hint, it is not me, because I did it last year. And we will find out who the drummer child is. So it's always such a wonderful time and so great to see the individuals and the children that have been here before to be the drummer children and see them grow up. I've only been here a year, but I've seen Ramon grow from here to here. And it's always wonderful to see throughout the year. Oh, and make sure you bring cookies, because we're doing a cookies exchange. On December 25th, we have the Christmas ceremony and potluck. And that's on Christmas Day. Check out your Inside Seaside for more details on that, December 29th through January 1st. Next Gen is actually doing a New Year's retreat. And this year, they typically have summer retreats for the Next Gen, and I was honored to be a part of the individuals that went this summer, and I grew a family. I grew in knowing other individuals that are doing the work that I'm doing here with like-minded individuals around the same age that I am, and I really didn't want to go at first, but I'm so glad that I did, because we became a genuine family. We became genuine friends. We still talk till this day. So they are still looking for hosts. If any of you are willing to host a millennial over these holidays, while you are in town, please let Audra know. She is here somewhere, or come see me. Also, registration is still open, so if you are a millennial or know any millennials who are looking for something truly spectacular this New Year's, please join us or help spread the word. For more information about the retreat, you can find the website on the front page of your Inside Seaside, nextgenretreat.org. And then the Burning Bowl ceremony is December 31st, and that's always a great time on New Year's Eve to come together. There is no reason why you feel alone this holiday season. There's always a space, there's always a time to come together, and here we are doing this for all of you. And lastly, but not least, we have gifts that are out in the family room. We have mugs, and we have mouse pads, and we have totes. They're all gifts that you can buy for yourself or for a loved one. And then on December 21st, are you still here? Hello? On December 21st, we are having our Drumming in the Light ceremony. So I am going to bring Christine Stevens out on stage so that she can give us a little something on what that would look like.
I'm Christine Stevens, and this is our 8th annual, raise your hand if you've been to the Drumming in the Light before. Okay, raise your hand bigger. Larger. So, wow, there's a lot of you who are going to be here for the first time. This is the first time in 7 years that it has aligned that we're doing our ceremony on the winter solstice itself. So how many of you like ceremony? Oh. What is ceremony? It's a moment of pause in community to honor a sacred transition. This is the darkest night, the 21st, and I'm born on June 22nd. I'm born on the brightest day, so I love stepping into the polarity of the shadow. We'll have silence with a sound bath this year. We reset the whole sanctuary into circles. We provide instruments for everyone. It is not a drum class. If you can do this, watch carefully. Any questions? So if you can do that, you can come and be part of Drumming in the Light. We've already had 80 tickets sold. It's family friendly, bring generations. And the last thing I'll say is, I'm not a drummer. I almost failed percussion in college. But what I discovered is this is not a technique. It is not reading music from a piece of paper. It's coming from your heart. It will anchor you in the heart. And we have 4 cultures represented this year: African, Brazilian, Afro-Cuban, Egyptian, and Native American. So please don't miss it. It's very affordable. It's $20 if you buy in advance and $25 at the door. So how many of you would like to join me for that event? I mean, really. It's fun dancing and drumming. And so thank you so much, Kat, and to Seaside for being our partner in its 8th year. Aho, Ashe, Amin, and I'll see you there.
All right. So if you would like to buy your tickets, go ahead onto Eventbrite or to our website. I'll say it slower. Go to Eventbrite or to our website to get your tickets. And with all that being said, you may now stand and greet your neighbors.
1, 2, 3,
Good morning, Seaside. Please remain standing for the congregational song. It's the most wonderful time of the year. You know this one. With the kids jingle belling and everyone telling you be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest season of all. With those holiday greetings and gay happy meetings when friends come to call. It's the happiest season of all. There'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Beautiful Seaside, come on, Bob. Give it up for Bob and our Seaside band. There'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time. Say that again. It's the most wonderful time. One more time. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Very nice, Seaside.
All right.
Woo.
I like the most wonderful time. That's a good one to be. So you've been singing these holiday tunes in your
Indeed.
gigs?
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Going
people
over-
dancing to songs like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
you get it.
nostalgic.
It is, it
It's
is.
just a beautiful time.
Well, what a blessing you are. We're looking forward. Candlelight service,
I can't wait.
23rd.
It's gonna be fun. Got some new tricks up our sleeves
Yeah.
that you don't even know about.
Oh, uh-oh. Yeah.
We'll
now,
see if it's
now I'm nervous.
if it passes the test.
Yeah. Do I get to hear about it before Sunday?
Maybe.
Oh, no.
Just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Anyway, hey, good morning, Seaside. Woo! What a joy it is to be here with you on our brisk winter day. It's in the, 50s here. And this is cold. We got my thick stuff on. You know, then you hear from the friends back east, and it's freezing back there and snowing, and we get no sympathy. Give me a break. Anyway, what a joy it is to share the holidays with you, how fun it is to have the festivities in the house, to have you in the house, and to just be open to the joy that is about to let itself be known within our hearts and our soul. And one of the ways we access that is by turning to Spirit in ever deeper kinds of ways. And this morning we have a wonderful practitioner of almost a couple decades here at Seaside who's going to take us to that deeper place through invocation and meditation and silence and love and smiles. It's Candace Young Schultz.
Please take a deep breath and join me in a moment of stillness. As I allow myself to feel that reverberation throughout my body, I know that that calm, that peace is God. And that calm, that peace is everywhere present and always available. It is the truth of who we are. It is the truth of all that is. And in this season, when we may get distracted from that calmness, from that peace, from that love, there is the constant invitation to return to the love, to return to the knowing that God is, that all there is God, always in, through, as all things. And I know that this morning is a time in which we hear more deeply God, and it is good, and I am grateful, and so it is. Said the little lamb to the shepherd boy, do you hear what I hear? Ringing through the sky, shepherd boy, do you hear what I hear? A song high above the tree, with a voice as big as the sea, with a voice as big as the sea. Said the shepherd boy to the mighty king, do you know what I know? In your palace walls, high and mighty king, do you know what I know? A child shivers in the cold. Let us bring him silver and gold. Let us bring him silver people everywhere. Listen to what I say. The child, sleeping in the night, he will bring us goodness and light. He will bring us goodness and light. Listen to what I say. Do you know what I know? Do you hear what I hear?
Wow. Master Practitioner Candace Young-Schultz and our very own Rebecca Jade. You guys give me God bumps. Thank you so much. Good morning. I'm Reverend Christina Tillotson, and it's my honor to especially welcome you if you're new to Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. We're a loving community that honors all paths or lack thereof. So thank you very much for being here and sharing your light and your love with us on this amazing, beautiful holiday season. I don't know about you all, but I love the holidays. So thank you for sharing them with us. And on your way out in the back table, we have a packet to acknowledge the fact that you were here. It has a CD from Dr. Christian, some information about us, a coupon for the bookstore, a coupon for muffins. So please stay around and socialize and say hello and be in this amazing community. This community is actually part of a worldwide community called Centers for Spiritual Living that's based in Golden, Colorado. And the vision is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence for a world that works for everyone. So if you can align with that, you are in the right place. So thank you so much for being here. And here at Seaside, as I said, I love the holidays. How many of you love Christmas carols? Singing Christmas carols? Well, on Christmas Day at noon, after you've opened your presents with your kids, come at noon because Jeanette Alexander will be leading us in Christmas caroling, and I will be telling you the metaphysical meaning of the Christmas carols for about 45 minutes. And then at 1 o'clock, we have our usual Christmas dinner for the Seaside family and the whole community. We usually have about 130 people. Bring your friends, bring your relatives. There's no reason for anyone to be alone on Christmas Day. And thanks to Melissa Spiegler, we get to do this every year. There's sign-up sheets in the back for turkey cookers and decorators and all the many people it takes to put this on. So please bring your friends and please bring something to share so that those who can't bring something have plenty. And then, of course, always on New Year's Eve, I think it's the 17th year in the row, I have the honor of leading the Burning Bowl ceremony. How many of you ever been to that? Oh, good. I hope you come back and bring your friends. As you know, you don't have to bring anything. So I provide the paper, and you write down what you want to let go of for this year. We go outside and burn it, and then you come back in, and we set intentions for the new year in community with each other, with the support of each other. So please bring your friends and family. I also need some volunteers to help with the fire so that we make sure that everything is contained. So there's a sign-up sheet and so far it's been really good for 17 years, so I know it will continue. So Dr. Christian today is talking about Do You Hear What I Hear? One of my favorite Christmas carols. And I'm reading from Mark Nepo's book, 7,000 Ways to Listen. The great mystic Teilhard de Chardin says, sooner or later, we shall have to acknowledge that love is the fundamental impulse of life. And Mark Nepo goes on to say, God is an infinite secret hiding place in the open, waiting for each of us to slow enough to inhabit our aliveness through our bareness of being. When we can do so, we become conduits of spirit that continually converge toward the ultimate unity that Teilhard de Chardin talks about. This is how life forms, begin and continue. Energy moves through particles, bringing them together, but it is the mysterious openness of the particle that enables the chain of life to assemble. That is what is the human heart, if not the most mysterious and transparent particle of being known to humankind? The Nepo goes on and talks about driving through the snow. And he says, I am trying to imagine and listen and feel all the trees on the earth that I can't see through the snow. They are anything but still life. And for each tree, I try to imagine, to listen and feel each human life. Some of us growing and some of us are dying. Such listening and feeling makes us lean into each other, makes us yearn to know our connection. Now I can sense all of life growing and dying at the same time. And yes, this growing and dying and yearning is the inhalation and exhalation of a living universe. And then he ends with saying, if we listen close enough and long enough, we inhale and exhale in unison with the inhalation and exhalation of everything living. So let's take these ideas into prayer. Inhaling and exhaling with everything living. Opening to that presence of spirit, of God, whatever one wants to call it, the force, the Tao, Adonai, whatever it is, prana, the energy of the universe, opening to that light and that love and that wisdom of spirit that's through and as all of its creation, continuing to inhale and exhale itself through and as all beings. And that is who I am in each one here is, each one coming in through the internet is. God in form, right here and right now, inhaling and exhaling and listening to that spirit within, that light and that love and that wisdom here as that light and that love and wisdom of spirit on this planet right here and right now in this sacred time. And I'm knowing that for this sacred time together, that light and that love of spirit flows through and as each one turns within to listen to that light and that love of spirit, to see that light and that love of spirit through and as all of creation, to know that light and that love of spirit through as all of creation in this wonderful holiday season, exploding that light and that love of spirit from this place out into the universe, knowing that there is only that one. And so I just gratefully accept this light and this love and this seeing and this knowing and this hearing of spirit right here and right now as the truth of this sacred time together. As I release this word to the law, knowing that it's now done in perfect hearing and seeing and knowing. And so it is. Amen.
Good morning, Seaside. Yeah, who's glad to be woken up this morning? Yes, so am I. Good morning. It's my honor to introduce our guest artist, and we love when she's down here. She's just got such beautiful songs, beautiful voice, beautiful spirit. The songs that she's going to do today are actually off of her brand new Christmas album. So if you're moved by her songs, which I'm pretty sure you will be, please see her after the service and check it out. So, but without further ado, help me welcome our very own lovely Margaret Owens.
What a night, what a star, what a light.
gifts they did bring, all to welcome the birth of the light here on earth. What a child, what a night. He brought the promise of a new day, and the light within us all. He brought the making of a new way. Glass and tigers, can't you hear the angels call? What a child, what a night. What a star, what a light. Brought a heaven above to light up the dark. What a child, what a night. Take it, Bob. Can you feel the light returning? 'Cause it is, child, don't you know? Can't you feel the embers burning? Deep within you there's a set your heart aglow. What a child, what a night. What a star, what a light. Shone from heaven above with a message of love. What a child, what a night. All to welcome the birth of the light here on earth. What a child, what a night. Brought a heavenly spark and light up the dark. What a child, what a night. Shone from heaven above with a message of love. What a child, what a night.
That is Margaret Owens with Rebecca J. just rocking us with a new number from your Christmas CD. Very nice. What a child, what a night. I love that. You know, heaven above, a message of love. That all works. Good job with that. That was nice. Margaret Owens. Oh, woo. All right, so do you hear what I hear inspired by that song that Rebecca sang? One of my favorites as well for the holiday season. I remember the first time I heard it. I was a little guy sitting in my dad's lap in the church on a Christmas kind of service. And there was the choir guy singing the song with a little girl dressed up in a lamb in his arm. And do you hear what I hear? And it stuck with me ever since. Became my favorite in that moment. And so I've sat with that title a lot. Do you hear what I hear? Do you see as I see? It's God speaking here. And a lot of times we get caught up in our stories and we don't hear what Spirit has to say. We get caught up in our myths. And what's interesting is there are some Christmas myths or ideas that we share in common. And so, Marv, you want to put them up here? I just want to go over these with you. So based on the Gospels, what did Mary ride on the road to Bethlehem? Donkey. How soon after they reached Bethlehem was Jesus born? That night. Right? What animals were gathered about in the manger? Sheep, goats, cows, all that stuff. And how many wise men were there? 3. How did the star compare in brightness to the others? The brightest, right? Who else besides the wise men saw the star? Shepherds. Did Joseph ever meet the wise men? Sure. Yeah, why not? So, I just want to share with you that none of those things are told in the Bible. We have conjured up the story to go with all of them. The Bible said, what did Mary ride on the road to Bethlehem? All it said is that, went to Bethlehem. She could have ridden there in a dune buggy through the desert for all we know. But we said it was a donkey. And how soon after they reached Bethlehem was Jesus born? All it said was she was great with child. It didn't say she had a kid that night, But somehow we have come up with that. What animals were gathered about the manger? Nowhere does it say these friendly animals, hung out at the birth of that kid. And how many wise men were there? I love this one. Nowhere did it say 3 wise men. I think they probably came up with it because there were 3 gifts, so there might as well have been 3, but there could have been 33 wise men there. You just don't know, but that is our myth. And how did the star compare in brightness with the others? It never talked about the nature of the star. It said the wise men followed the star that came to rest above the manger. We're the ones who came up with brightness. And who else saw it? Well, we figured the shepherds saw it because they were hanging out outside that night. And why they're out in the middle of December, I don't know. But supposedly these guys are out there, but nowhere did it say they saw a star. The angel filled them in on the news, right? It was the angel who said what was going on. And so who knows if Joseph ever met the wise men, 3 or 33 of them. It just doesn't say. And so these are some of our Christmas myths that we hold near and dear to our heart that some will defend to the very end. But what I want us to get is that how easy it is for us to create myths, to love our myths, to stand by our myths, to worship our myth, because they are our truth. So be aware of what myths that you're creating in your life that you hear and you see that are your reality that really are not true. Right? What myths and stories are you looking at that are not supportive, that are not empowering, that make you less than? It's easy to embrace these stories as we think. Imagine all those things we're telling ourselves that we have our whole belief system based around. And so what we want to do is, if we're going to tell ourselves stories, we might as well use empowering stories, right? You're a child of God, that I'm able to see as Spirit sees. Do you hear what I hear? Do you see what it is I see? Am I able to, if I'm making up stories, am I able to look at greater possibilities as opposed to the ones that are creating a limitation or lack or a scarcity? Because I'll tell you, we got enough limitations on our own. There is really no need for us to listen to critics and take on their limitations. It's just, it doesn't make sense. And so as we do our mindfulness, as we sit there in deep contemplation, let us bring those thoughts that inspire us to love. If we're going to do anything in life, let us come from love, not limitation, not lack, not upset, not scarcity, but with a greater sense of the possibility, because I hear, and I see the greater expression of Spirit here, no matter what it is. And one of the one of the Christmas stories that always holds dear to my heart was about a young minister and his wife starting off their ministry work in a new church. It was at one time a magnificent church, but it had just been run down. It was after World War II. It was in an affluent part of town. No longer it was in a nice part of town. So, this kid gets this old place to say, hey, make it work, kiddo. But he shows up October of 1948, all excited. He and his wife, they took this new, to them, a new church, old church, and needed a lot of work. And they were determined in October that it was going to be pristine and sparkling for the candlelight service. I like his thinking already. And so they started painting and plastering and they spent 3 months getting it ready. And a couple days before the candlelight service on Christmas Eve, a big storm blows in and the rain pours down and the roof springs a leak and the water pours through behind the altar on the back wall. The old plaster just sucks it up like a dry sponge, and it just crumbles. And they've spent 3 months. There's no way they're going to get this ready in the next 24 hours. But being new, they say somehow God's will, everything works out for a reason. All those great metaphysicians. Concepts. Anyway, so, sad minister and wife go to the youth's afternoon auction that day. They're raising money for the youth program. They're selling things, and they're auctioning off this tablecloth. And it's a beautiful tablecloth in a sense. It's a 15-foot banquet tablecloth, and it's on gold with hand lace kind of stuff. Kind of old, but looks good. And he has this great idea that he was going to get it and hang it over the hole behind the altar. Here is God inspired. He bids and wins the bid at $6.50. Big spender there. And he gets it, that night, and the next day, Christmas Eve day, and the winds are blowing, the snow's coming down. He gets there about the middle of, the day, and as he gets there and is opening the door, he sees an old lady standing at the bus stop, and he knows the bus isn't going to come for about a half hour. So he says, why don't you come on inside where it's warm, wait for the bus inside. And she comes in, she says that she's not from this part, that she was applying for a job as a governess to a well-to-do, well-known family, and they didn't get it. She didn't get it because she was a refugee from the war, didn't speak English very good. And so she just sat down in the back, and she did her prayers, and didn't even see the guy putting up the new tapestry he got, and he hung it up. And she picked her head up, walked up to the stage and said, "That's mine." And it's like, she came up and said, "You know what, that's tapestry. It was once mine." And she showed her initials that she embroidered in the back and went on to tell him the story that she and her husband lived in Vienna and that they were assisting individuals get away from the Nazi occupation to the point where the husband said, "You know what, we got to go to Switzerland to save our lives. We can't go together. We'll never get out. You go first and I'll follow." And so she went, made it to Switzerland, and her husband never showed up. And she heard that he was taken in a concentration camp and died there. And so the minister, after hearing that story, said, "It's your tablecloth." She thought about it and said, "There's nothing I can do with a 15-foot tablecloth. Just keep it." And so that night at the candlelight service, people were just awed by the evening, that tablecloth and the gold, catching the sparkles, the dawn of the new day, the excitement after the service. Everybody walking out said, "Hey, Rev, the place looks beautiful. It hasn't looked this good in years." And one guy was left kind of looking at the tablecloth in amazement. And as he walked out the door, he said to the minister, "I had a tablecloth like that once. My wife and I were in Vienna at the time, but because of the Nazi occupation, we had to split up and never saw her again." Woohoo is right. Goosebumps up that guy's back. And he said, "Let me tell you this story I heard today." And he said, let's see if I can find the number of those people that she was interviewing with, and which he did, and they had the address, and they jumped in this guy's old jalopy, drove across town. They went to the door, and right there in front of the minister, there was this reunion of love and miracles and Christmas gifts. And it's just amazing the possibilities that exist when you're willing to hear and see as God sees and listen to that spoken word and say, people just kind of, coincidence, wasn't that good luck? Sometimes there are so many dynamics in life. Have you noticed that it is impossible just for it to be dumb luck? To think that this young family would have started there, that they would have been excited about the candlelight service, worked for 3 months, then to have a hole put in the wall, that a roof that held up for decades all of a sudden would spill right there, that they would actually go to the kids' raffle and then buy something. And, all these, and then this lady was there that he went to work at the very moment she was there, not a half hour earlier, not a half hour later, and then the guy walked. That's not coincidence, guys. At least I don't think. That isn't just dumb luck. There is a divine expression, those miracles that are willing to show up when I can get my myths and my stories that I'm making up, that it is impossible for God to show up here because this is way beyond the big guy's abilities. But rather, I'm going to just take that risk. Do you hear what I hear? Do you hear the Spirit speaking? Are you open to the possibilities that I am going to trust a little bit more than my sadness or my pain or my stories of stretching or struggle or scarcity or constriction, the body, the doctor, the list, the list. Am I going to believe that there's a greater possibility here? Because I got to tell you, our nature is one of trust. We're willing, a little gambling on the side with life, kind of what we do. I mean, the farmers, when they put the seeds in the ground, if that's not a big trust walk with nature, they really have no idea what nature's going to do. They got hoping, but it's a trust. Are you willing to have that same kind of trust and risk and gamble in God? When you get in relationship and you got a new partner, if that's not a risk, I don't know what is. You don't know where that's going. But you got to believe in what Spirit's love can prevail here. You invest for your future. You trust that works. You drive through an intersection on a green light. You're really, you're trusting that guy coming the other direction is going to actually stop at the red light. And so what I want us to know is that, we're going to have to step out there. And sometimes we hit it, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's going to work, but it doesn't mean to stop playing in life. It's like the notes on the piano. Somebody plays the piano and like me, I miss the note. I say, man, that's a sour note, Christian. And it's not as if there's any sour notes on that piano. I assure you, every one of those notes on that piano is a good. I'm going to grab a different mic because I am making noise here. All right. We'll turn this one off and turn this one on. There you go. Where am I going? No sour notes on that piano. Every note is good unless I'm playing, and then I put some together that just don't sound so good. You know, in our life, it's not as if God's good sometimes and bad other times. It's like if something's unfolding in our life, am I going to choose to believe that there's a greater story here than the mythology that I'm creating in my mind that says it's bad? Why would I want to do that to myself? If I find myself in a dynamic that is stretching me, or I find myself in a responsibility that's just boring, or whatever it is, I can choose to change the way in which I see. Right? I see as God sees. You know, and I find that the way I like to change it is, how can I see this differently? There's an assignment for you this week. You got any area in your life in this season that may not be as joy-filled or as exciting or dynamic or a stretch or responsibility or family or more presence you got to, whatever it is, ask yourself, how can I see this differently? Because what that does for me is it turns my experience from whatever that concern was, the myth of my mind, to a deeper realization that, you know what? This is an adventure. If anything else, it is a romantic adventure because I came into this world to love just deeper. I came into this world to feel fully. I came into this world to be able to express myself, and where I find myself, whether my partner has disappeared, whether there is a struggle in the economy and they're trying to have me believe a myth in limitation or lack or scarcity, I am going to choose to see as God sees and hear that something that says this is an adventure. It is an odyssey. It is an exciting journey that I'm going to choose to embrace a greater possibility than just struggling in a sense of, woe is me. This is just a sour something that God sent me. No, every note is good. If it's sour, it's because the person who's playing with the infinite symphony of possibilities is hitting things not in the right order. I'm the one who's got to begin to recognize that I get to change here. You know, they've got all sorts of studies that say, you know, the happiest people continue to create the happiest circumstances in their life. Like, duh. As if we didn't know that one. And those that are miserable tend to create situations that substantiate their misery. It's like what we've got to do is begin to shift our awareness. You know the story of the two guys behind prison bars? One's looking out and sees the mud, and the other is looking out and seeing the stars. What is it that you're seeing? How are you looking at life and the situations that are at hand? Spirit constantly says, use my eyes. See as I see. Look at the possibilities here that exist for you. Because there's something higher. But what happens is we get caught up in the trajectory of where we're going. We get caught up in our stories, or these are the rules, and these are the regulations, and this is the way it's got to be, because this is what I am reading, this is what I am seeing, this is what I am hearing. I returned something to the store recently. It's not the most fun time to stand in that return line if you haven't noticed. In stores. So you get to make it fun. I did my best. But as I finally got to the counter, I missed like the 10-day window return policy. Yeah, and I was gonna get less than ministerial with them. But instead I gave them the big eyes. You know, that look, oh. Anyway, the clerk behind there, who is, you know, probably just out of junior high, she had kindness in her heart. And it's like, she said, these are the rules, but you know what? I'm going to refund you anyway. It's like there was a higher possibility here. You know, it's not the letter of the law. It is the spirit of the law that we talk about all the time. That's what the season is about. Remember the spirit? There's a higher way of being. I can see things differently here. I'm going to look at it differently. You know the story from the Bible about the ones that got caught in the act of adultery, which the punishment is to be stoned to death, as if getting caught in the act isn't embarrassing enough. You know, it's like all of a sudden, you know, they were going to stone this individual to death when Jesus goes ahead and says, you know, the first among you without sin cast the first stone, which is probably a good approach with guilt. You know, is inflicting some guilt to start with. But what I also think was happening, because people are saying, but the law says, you know, the law says that we are to stone this person to death. And what he is saying, but there is a higher way of being. There is a greater way in which you can see this situation. You need not follow the dictates, the myths, or the laws that do not support the greater expression to God. What are you listening to here? Are you listening to your heart? You're listening to that mind or that brain. You get to decide, okay, what is it I'm going to experience here? And what happens is we have been so trained through our prayers and through decades and centuries and millennium to praying to something outside to gift us what it is we need, that we have forgotten that we don't pray to the outside something. We don't pray to the cosmic Santa Claus to deliver the gifts. What we are is that gift. What we are is that place. We pray from the place of love. We pray from that higher consciousness. We pray from hearing as Spirit speaks and allow what comes forth from us to be God. Those who see me see the one that sent me. Let us be such a clear transparency that the presence of God shows itself in all situations, that we cannot be fooled by appearances because the authorities or the doctors or the headlines have said something, this is the way it is, and I begin to believe that myth. Yes. This season reminds us that there is a higher way to be. There's a young guy from California, Marion Smith, and he went back to the East Coast for Christmas holidays, wanted to experience some cold because 50 degrees wasn't cold enough for him. And so there he is, walking along the streets, freezing like any good Californian would be doing. So he turned into the first open door, which happened to be Union Station, Washington, D.C. And he grabbed himself a cup of coffee, sat down, warmed up his fingers and toes with the coffee, and decided to get some good quality people-watching experience in the station. As he looked around, he saw the restaurant tables, come into the grand hall, and the food come wafting in, the smell, and kind of enticed him to maybe an early dinner here. But he also noticed another guy who kind of was also moved by the wonderful aromas of the restaurant. But this guy, he was gaunt. His hands were chapped. Clothes were thin, bedraggled or disheveled. Obviously, he was a homeless guy. And so Marion shared that he was thinking, well, maybe I give him some coffee. But then his head was saying, you just stay out of it. But his heart was saying, no. But his head was going, and he was almost, and then while he was debating with himself, this nice couple came out of the restaurant, and they stopped at this homeless gentleman and said, hey, my good fellow, you know what? My wife and I, we just had dinner, and our appetites were not as large as we had thought, and we just hate to waste good food. Could you help us out and do something with this? And just gave him a big container. It's like, and Marion's just kicking himself. Why didn't he? And he just watched the homeless guy just sit down with the joy. He said, Merry Christmas, and he sat down, he opened the container, and he rearranged the little soup crackers in a certain way. He picked up, he examined the club sandwich, set it down, and then the soup. He opened up the soup and warmed up his hands and caught the fragrance, and then unwrapped the plastic spoon and dipped it into that soup, filled it, and just as he was about to take a bite, he stopped, just suddenly, just right there. And he looked out, and Marion looked where he was looking, and walking in the door at that Union Station was a guy who, I don't know, looked like Walking Dead or something. Here came a guy, another homeless individual. This time, he had no hat. He had no gloves. His pants were like thin summer pants. His coat was threadbare. His hands were chapped. His face was blue. His shoes were open, and he was like he could barely stand. And everybody in the place, but the only one who did anything, as this new homeless guy came staggering in, was the guy with the soup and the sandwich who got up, went on over, put his arm around him and said, come on, old Pops, why don't you sit down and join me over here? And as he sat him down, he took his hands, rubbed them briskly, took his coat that he was wearing, the homeless guy, and put it around his shoulders. And he said, hey, Pops, My name is Jack, and I've just been given this miracle meal by a couple, and they gave me more than I could eat. And I hate to see good food go to waste. Could you help me out here and do something with that? And before he could even say something, he scooped up a thing of the soup and gave it to him and placed it in his hand. And the guy said, you know what? I can help you out under one condition, that if you go halfway with me and we split this sandwich together. Well, Marion wasn't moved in that moment to go up and grab 2 big tubs of coffee and a bunch of pastries and bring it back to that guy. And what he shared is he left that station that day warmer than he had been that whole week. All of a sudden within him, he saw that spirit of Christmas going forth. And what excites me about this time of the year is that there is a spirit that is carried about with possibilities and greater ways of seeing and greater ways of being that brings me a sense and hope for humanity that I am not normally caught in when I'm reading the headlines, but the old myths fall away as there is a new vibration that raises to the surface of a greater way in which we can be together in humanity. But it's a matter of us choosing to see with that divine vision, to see as God sees the truth rather than limitation, to see freedom instead of constriction, to know that with this greater way of seeing, it will make me a better healer, a better parent, a better metaphysician, a better light bringer to this world, because I am able to hear something that my old myth was unable to catch. You know, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, you know that good old classic from the 70s. Yeah, Richard Bach, Jonathan's teacher, Chang, was teaching him to fly as fast as thought. You have to see yourself already there. You got that? To see yourself already there. And the trick is not to be bound by your body and your 42-inch wingspan, but the trick is, he says, is to know your true nature, that you are like unwritten numbers everywhere possible at every moment in time. That's how we want to see. We want to be able to see the greater possibility, irrespective if there's a big hole in the wall, center stage, that you're sure that everybody's going to be looking at. But if I truly believe that there are no sour notes in the kingdom of God, then there is something greater there that I don't know, and I get to choose to hold on to the greater possibility and to listen from the depth of my being and trust that, you know what, this Christmas spirit is coming forth, and I'm not going to be blind to it. I'm not going to be deaf to it. Helen Keller told us the only blind person at Christmas is the one that doesn't have Christmas in their heart. My challenge to you is for all of us to fill our hearts with that wonderful Christmas spirit and bring it to our world. God bless us as we do this together. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring Margaret Owens back to our stage.
And whoever was in charge of the decorations, they are just so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Callie, was that you? Because it looks like you.
An old twin bed in my grandpa's house. In the room upstairs I wait for reindeer on the roof and the sound of sleigh bells that I anticipate. I've been told that I gotta be fast asleep, or the big man he won't show. I circled everything I want in the Sears catalog, so it's off to dreams I go. 'Cause I wanna be wild, wanna be blown away by the stockings overflowing on Christmas Day. And the fire in the hearth is warm in the room almost as much as my grandfather's love. I'm wrapped up in the magic of the moment. The family gathered round and our hearts aglow. I can picture it in my mind oh so clearly, and I believe so off to sleep I go.
are blurry, but my heart, it sees just fine. When I rest my gaze on the many blessings and the magic that is mine. It's a miracle that grass can grow and flowers bloom and the sun floats in the sky. That the smallest light can illumine the darkest room, and I've still got dreams to try. And I wanna be wild, wanna be blown away by all the moments I create today. I could sit on my ass, I could let the day pass, but it seems a waste to throw this gift away. Will I bring the same belief in childhood wonder to the grown-up games I choose to play? Will the joy of giving and receiving be witnessed more than just on Christmas Day? Twinkling lights get multiplied every time you cross your eyes, and the power is in the present, just the way the word implies. I'm talking about being there for others. I'm speaking to believing in your dreams. I'm telling you to be the love in your life when the world is going to extremes. Keep remembering the magic is within you. The day is yours to do with what you will. So take a moment to get quiet and be still. Just be still. Let yourself be wowed, be blown away by all the love that flows through you today. And as far as your dreams, all your hopes and desires, you've got all you need and more than you require to light up the sky, to love brave and strong, no matter if the world tells you you're wrong. Remembering the wonder of childhood, remember the magic in the moment, the joy that comes from giving and receiving. Remember the power of believing, and soon you'll see that goodness still abounds. Every time you dare to stop and look around, you perceive and what you believe that makes a miracle.
That is Margaret Owens. Woo! Oh, yeah, no, yeah, probably. No, I guess so. That's it. All right. Margaret, that's fabulous. That was good. Thank you. That's so good. All right, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to unite together in our sharing and our love and our contributing that is able to create this fabulous community that has gone through time for 30 years. We're going to be celebrating our 28th candlelight service on the 23rd here. So, I mean, there is just wonderful tradition and nostalgia and love. And it happens because of moments like this every week that says, guys, this is my family. And it just reminds me of the presence of God. And I am supporting Spirit's work. And as we support Spirit's work, what we discover is Spirit supports its work as our life. And so I invite you to listen to your heart and your soul and to give from that place, from that flowing, from that overflowing, and know that you can't outgive Spirit. Try. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So, but with that, I want to invite our ushers and greeters to come forward at this time and say thank you to this wonderful crew. You're looking gorgeous and holiday-ish. And thank you to all those who mail in your contributions. When you can't be here on a Sunday, it's greatly appreciated, because even if you're not here, we still have our responsibilities. And because of your regular support, makes a significant difference in our comfort level to operate, as well as those who participate with our auto tithe, that regular systematic support from your world into Seasides for the course of the year. Whether you're thinking about us or not, we'll sure be feeling your love. But with that, I want to share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that truly the blessing of the divine unfolds through each and every one of us. For it is a prayer of gratitude, because the abundance of the divine continues to create new story in our life, a story that is based on security and peace, and a deep knowing that our life is continuously supported, because it is the God expression that moves through our life, that we become that tap or that conduit into the infinite reservoir of inexhaustible good and abundance that finds expression in our life in the most relevant and perfect ways. We become the activity of God's abundant flow. So filled with joy, with the ability to be able to share that, and living with a sense of fulfillment for that which has graced our life, that we're able to share that blessing with the world. We say thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this ever-expanding story of greater possibilities and abundance that shows up as our life. And so it is. Amen. And together, let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good. Those are your guys from Seaside. Great job. Love you. And so as I stand before this bounty, I can feel the love that is pouring forth from each and every one of us, for we have become that divine conduit of the God expression that brings forth a greater good. And I know taking that which has blessed our life and sharing that with our spiritual community, which receives it and handles it in good stewardship and sends it forth back into the world, bringing the blessings of your grace and your joy and your love to all that comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to be an expresser of that divine life. And so it is. Amen. This is Tina. She is your board secretary and has some grand ideas for this coming year, like a red carpet before the virtual convention. That's going to be a lot of fun. So a lot of good things are in store. Thank you for your wonderful support. Tina Lozazo. Margaret Owens, what a joy. My goodness, drove all the way down from Camarillo. Took the train all the way down from Camarillo. Left your freshman college student at home with Dad. I'm sure the two boys are having all sorts of fun that they won't tell you about. but that's a guy thing. So anyway, we've been doing this for more than 2 decades together Sunday morning, so it's a joy. Yeah, that is crazy. So Rebecca, bless you for the wonderful gifts and talent and love that you bring us. So looking forward to the candlelight service, 23rd, and what you're not telling me about, I trust is good. All right, well, good luck. No, good luck. No, we don't talk luck. It's divine download, right? Something like that. Anyway, Dr. Christina, always a joy to share Sunday mornings. Christmas tree is gorgeous. Thank you for getting that for us this year, and Soli and your wonderful team for decorating it. It's gorgeous for sure. And the holiday offerings you bring Seaside, like the Christmas Day meal. You've got your service with the interpretation of the carols, followed by the meal, thanks to Melissa and her team assisting you. Then you got the burning bowl on New Year's Eve. So there's a lot of good that's going on. So thank you for that. And take a look at your program and see the good that's going on. We got all sorts of things. We got the next generation doing their retreat here. So guys in the back, Matthew, thank you for sound. Appreciate you. Nice job, Marv, with the visuals. And I know you're polishing off the candlelight service so we can read everything smoothly on the 23rd. Oh, and we got a whole media team that is recording, switching. We got 3 cameras going today. So thank you guys for all your wonderful support, for sure. And with that, you guys at home watching, live streaming, we just love you. Thank you for your support. Happy holidays. I got a list of individuals, Marla, Daniel, Tracy. Hey, Tracy, we know your foot's healing up quick. But there's one name that's not on there today, and I just found out. Marla Radcliffe was a practitioner in Huntington Beach during the Peggy Bassett days. And she lives in Orange County. The last couple of years, she's been watching with her daughters us on live streaming. And before I left town, the Monday before Thanksgiving, I got a message from a practitioner in Huntington Beach that said, why don't you call Marla? She was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in October. And so it's Saturday, and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and give her a call. I mean, because you're part of the family for sure. And I called, and we spoke, and we prayed, and filled with joy. And what I found out this morning as her daughter walked through, that she made her transition 2 days later, and said that prayer and that conversation was like the greatest experience that she could have had from Seaside. So I just wanted you guys to know we're making a difference. And we don't know everybody who's watching, but we're there in people's lives. So if you're watching at home, share this message with people. Continue to donate. Hit that donate button, and it's there, and there, and there. That's everywhere. And yeah, share the message and continue, because it's growing substantially for sure. So I see our children coming in. Anyone wanting to talk to us? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Who wants to talk today? Okay. Come on forward, guys. Hey, what do you want to say?
We learn kindness and we were talking about kindness and stuff, and we made her, and we were and we got prizes from the teachers, and it was Delby's birthday, and he just
All right. You're going to be a minister. The way you grab my microphone, you always have something else to say. Ramon, did you want to say anything?
we for art, before we left, we had to make some elves, and we got some more prizes. So we got like 2 prizes from Susie.
Nice. Bring Susie back some more. That's good. Hey, I heard you were the drummer boy last year. Do you know who the drummer child is this year? I don't know. I just thought you were going to fill me in. It's a secret. You got to be here.
That elf. Yeah.
What is it? I can listen to you guys talk all day. But we have a message for you, and that is, we see you, we love you, and we support you in your magnificence. Yeah. Woo! That's it. All right. Hey, I just want to remind you, winter solstice, Friday night here, Christine Stevens, it's her 8th year. It has turned into a ritual nostalgia. It is amazing. The beat of the drum was just out-of-body kind of experience that just brings you into alignment with the ancestors and all those that have gone before us, just honoring the cycles of life. So magical night, Friday night right here. Read the program, as I said, there's a lot going on, but what I want to do is pray, because all this morning leads to this moment. It's not the message, might be the music, because it's always really good, but it's always about shifting the consciousness and opening the space for a new story to come forth. It is for that presence of God to be revealed. And so I want to invite any of our religious science practitioners to just stand right where they are. For truly, these are the ambassadors of the light. They have been trained in the art of prayer and meditation and mindfulness. And they just bring to this moment a wonderful vibration of the possibility of the greater expression of life, which is God. For that infinite presence that is the light, that was and is and always will be. For that fullness of that unwritten number that is always available. Truly, that first breath, first pulse, the life itself, that power, that's something that breathed you into expression. Feel that, sense that, know that. For there is a power that is moving in this moment. And it's not what I am saying. It is something that is available for each and every one of us to feel and to know and to experience. It is a life force itself. It is indescribable, but yet it is a real, it is felt. Sense that, because it is in this wonderful vibration of being that you can feel that wonderful download of the divine, bringing forth the blessings in your world, creating the healing that your body desires, bringing the love into expression. That is the truth of being. For right now, in this moment, I choose to be that presence of divine awareness. For I am Spirit speaking, and I stand with the jubilation of this revelation of God made manifest in our individual lives in those ways that are right and real and blessed. For the grace and the glory of God has its way in this joyous season, for there is a grand opening for a new story to personalize its expression with relevance as our very life. So each of us can walk through this world as if we are knowing what we came to do, empowered to do that, and supported in the self-expression, and live with a sense of fulfillment and joy, living a life of success with the wonderful floodgates of good open, pouring forth all that is relevant in our life that will uplift the story, the myth, the ideas of God touching down as our very experience here and now. For Seaside continues to grow, its light continues to get brighter. It continues to be a thriving spiritual community because of individuals like us who are part of this community. Whether we are virtual or whether we are local, there is a sense of love and consciousness that supports the emergence of the greater expression of God. That is a light that is rising, a star that is bright, that allows people to remember the truth of being. For it's in this divine remembering that anything unlike itself falls away. I begin to catch that inner sound of the God expression and become familiar with it, and to see as God sees. And so as I look upon our prayer request chest, I see that God has seen the wholeness of every request that has come forth into that prayer request chest. For Kimberly Presley, sitting in the hospital right now, 35-year-old mom whose organs are shutting down. I know right now that there is a greater story that is emerging beyond what the doctors are seeing. For truly, the Kimberly is that place where the joy of life and that which puts the sparkle in her eyes is alivening every cell and tissue and organ fiber of her physical being, and there is a responsiveness to her wholeness in this very moment, and that she steps up out of that bed and walks away from that hospital and is able to share her love with her child at home once again. For the blessings and the good of God continue to surround us no matter where we are. And for Marla Radcliffe, who stepped on to the other side, that she travels with those cosmic rays of light and love, fully expressing herself as well as she ever had, if not better, free to be that which she is. The heavens are brighter because their new star shines. I'm grateful for that Seaside continues to be a place of family, spiritual family and community, where we can create memories and times and joy and love and support together. And so as we move into this season of joy, there is an excitement of a remembrance of the greater possibility for humanity that is beginning to take form, because it is seen as God sees the good that we are in this together. So thankful that the words we've shared are the truth, that they're manifesting. I'm grateful to know that if there is anyone here today working on a particular issue, that in asking, how can I see this differently, there emerges the way in which God sees. Do you hear what I hear? Do you see what I see? Something good's going on. I can feel it. Not only within myself, but within this room. Something good's going on within this country and upon this globe. there's the emergence of greater something. There are stories and conversations that are being had. And so knowing right now that I'm able to say thank you for the greater expression of God here and now, the words we have spoken, the truth, I am able to let go and just allow Spirit to have its way in this very moment. Let go to that. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say. Seaside, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said I believe and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Seaside, sing it from your heart. That's what I'm talking about. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yay.
Thank you. Hey, and before our affirmation, one last announcement. We're doing next year something very bold. We're uniting with the Centers for Spiritual Living and Unity around Southern California to have deep conversations about what's happening within our culture. And it's non-political, but you know what? If we can't bring our spirituality to the things that are happening in our headlines in our world, then what good is our spirituality? And so we're going to have these conversations once every couple months in the different centers on the same day at the same time. And so what we're asking you is, what conversations do you want to have next year? This year we took a look at race, we took a look at immigration, took a look at gun control, not from who's right and who's wrong, but helping to understand different perspectives. Next year, with a dozen or two different communities, we're going to be having conversations and listening to both sides without judgment. So we're asking you what conversations you want to have, because next week all these centers are getting together and they're going to take your surveys and figure out which conversations want to be had. So Dr. Kathy Hearn's out there and is willing and ready to take that. And one other thing, my goodness, and Teresa, your mom has made cookies for her spiritual community in Missouri forever and ever. And I know she just got diagnosed with third stage cancer. And so you told her you were bringing cookies to Seaside in her honor. There's wonderful cookies sitting out there, homemade by you two. We love you, and we hold your mom in our prayer. Helen it is. So we know that right where she is, God is expressing and bringing forth that new picture. Yep. So pick up a cookie and take a bite and say, God is good. So anyway, let's say together our affirmation, which is, I feel the presence of the divine all around. Together, I feel the presence of the divine all around. Touch your heart and say it again. I feel the presence of the divine all around. One more time like it's your truth. I feel the presence of the divine all around. And our song of grace.
I'm living in love. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. 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 Have a wonderful week, Seaside. See you next Sunday. Come for the candlelight service. Bring a friend.